truth was, the only thing I got for fixing that alien ship, the key to a story you've never heard, is this truth. What the being from another world told me about Jesus in general. Put aside your faith. Don't remember what you learned in Sunday school. Someone told me about a hidden link or a missing piece that will finally make sense of your life. But I need to warn you. This information costs something. It will help you see things you didn't see before. But it could also make you question what you thought you knew. So let's start if you're ready to face what you've been told is true. Not the end of a journey, but the beginning of a revelation that has been frozen in time for 2,000 years. That's what Frank Morrison saw in Montana. What the alien's ship taught me about Jesus will change everything you think you know. It's not about religion. It's about something that has been kept secret. Your life will make sense, like it never has before, once you understand it. But be careful, because what you're about to find might be scary. It might make you question everything you've ever learned, and you can't take it back once you see it. If you want to hear a truth that churches will never tell you, click the bell icon to subscribe to the channel. It will help you understand something that has been kept secret for 2,000 years after what happened to Frank Morrison in that Texas field. If you want to hear a secret that churches will never tell you, subscribe and ring the bell to make a promise to join me on my journey to find the hidden mysteries of faith. Because what happened to Frank Morrison in that field in Montana will show you something that has been kept secret for 2,000 years. Let me now tell you how it all began. On the night of the loud boom, Frank Morrison was lying in bed and listening to the storm outside. It wasn't thunder. This was different and deeper. It felt like something very heavy had hit the ground with a lot of force. Frank had learned to ignore strange noises by the time he was 62, divorced, and living alone in a rural Montana area. It most likely was just a tree falling. He was going to take care of it in the morning. He finally fell asleep after rolling over on his side. The morning was bright and sunny, very different from the storm that happened at night. There was damage outside Frank's kitchen window when he got up and made coffee. He stopped moving. What was in his field? It was big and metal, and it reflected the sun in a strange way. A pair of old binoculars was pulled out of a drawer, and he said, "What in the world fell out there?" He could see better through the glasses. It wasn't pieces of an airplane. There was nothing he knew about it. It didn't have any seams, and the shape was too smooth. Frank put down the binoculars, put on his boots, and went outside. Being close to him made his heart beat faster. The air smelled like electricity. The thing was about the size of a small trailer. It was curved and smooth, made of a metal that looked like liquid in the light, and its colors changed as he moved around it. It was being worked on by someone or something. After stopping about 30 feet away, Frank's blood turned into ice. It looked like a person, but it was definitely not a person. It had grayish skin, long arms and legs that didn't belong to it, and a big head. It was hunched over next to an open shelf on the ship, working on something that gave off a faint blue glow. Frank had no choice but to take a step back. A dry branch broke off under his boot. The thing turned around in an instant. Huge, completely black eyes were fixed on him. Both humans and aliens stood still and stared at each other across a field of grass in Montana. Everything in Frank's body tensed up. He was stuck. He was unable to scream. He could only look into those eyes that didn't make sense. Then, the creature slowly raised one long-fingered hand palm forward, which is a sign that says, "I don't mean any harm." Frank was already on the run, though. His 62-year-old legs could barely move as he turned around and ran back to the house as fast as he could. His heart was pounding against his ribs, and he could barely breathe. He smashed the door in, locked it, and ran to the window to look through the blinds. The thing hadn't followed. It stood still by the ship and watched the house, not moving. Frank said in a whisper, "This isn't going to happen. This can't be real." He reached for his phone. He was going to call someone. "The police? What do you say? There's an alien in my field?" Frank sat down in a kitchen chair and shook his hands very hard. He closed his eyes tight and took a deep breath. After 10 minutes, he opened them and looked out the window again. The thing was still there, but now it was making a gesture, not waving, but pointing at the ship and then at itself in a way that made it look like it had no control. All of a sudden, Frank got it. The thing got stuck. Its ship was broken. It was stuck. "Not my problem," Frank told the empty house out loud. "Definitely not my problem." He pushed himself away from the window, made more coffee, and tried to act normally. He was back at the window, though, after an hour. The thing was now lying on the ground next to its ship, with its head bowed as if it were giving up. Even though Frank was scared and thought it was impossible, he felt a strange pang of sympathy. "Oh, for God's sake," he muttered. "I'm going to regret this." Frank reached up and grabbed his old gun from the wall. It's likely he wasn't going to use it, but he held on tight as he slowly left the house. He walked toward the thing and stopped about 15 feet away. The gun was not pointed, but it was easy to see. The thing raised its head and looked at him with its black eyes. Then there was a voice that spoke into Frank's mind, not from its mouth. "I'm not going to hurt you." Frank was so shocked that he almost dropped the gun. You're in my head." "I'm sorry. It's the only way I can talk to you. I don't have vocal cords that look like yours." Frank made his hold on the gun tighter. "What are you? Where did you come from?" "A long way away. A long way away. And I have to go back, but my ship is broken. I can't fix it by myself." The creature pointed to the panel that was open. Frank could see a bunch of technology that he didn't understand, like lights that were flickering and wires with their ends cut off, or things that looked like wires. "You work in auto repair. There are tools in your shed. I see extra parts. You know how everything works." Frank still didn't put down the gun and asked, "How do you know that?" "Before landing, I looked at your property. I meant to land far away from you, but the storm made it impossible for me to do so. I crashed here by mistake." Frank kept quiet. His mind was telling him to run, call the police, and do anything but this. But another part, the one that had worked on engines for 40 years, saw a problem with the way they were working. Someone was trapped and couldn't do anything. He finally asked, "Why should I help you?" For a moment, the thing was quiet. The voice in his head then said, "Because I'm also a mechanic. Not from this world, but the same in spirit. Just like you, I fix things that are broken. I'm broken, scared, and alone right now." Frank could feel his chest getting tight. He knew exactly how that person felt, alone, scared, and like they were stuck with no way out. "And if I help you, you'll leave and never come back?" "Yes. As soon as the ship is ready to go, I will leave right away." First, Frank looked at the ship, then the thing, and finally the gun he was holding. He also made a choice that would change the course of his life forever. "Okay," he said, as he slowly put the gun down. "I'll see what I can do. But if you try anything funny, I'm not going to, I promise." Frank took a nervous look around. His land was mostly alone, but not completely. A car drove down the road every once in a while. A plane went by. His finger was on the ship and said, "If anyone sees that thing." "My shed is big enough. We can pull it inside so no one sees it. Can you move it? I've got a truck with a winch. If your ship doesn't weigh a ton, I can get it in there. It's not as heavy as it looks. The stuff is different." Frank got out his old F-250 pickup, put it in place, and connected the winch cable to the frame of the ship. The strange thing watched him with eyes that could see anything. Frank said, "Hang on," as he turned on the winch. He was shocked at how easily the ship moved. It seemed too light for its size, like it was made of something that didn't follow the rules of physics he knew. The ship had to be moved inside the big shed for 20 minutes. Frank shut the heavy doors, but his heart was still beating fast. The creature moved in a way that didn't seem natural as it followed him inside. "There," Frank said, wiping his forehead to clear his voice. "Now, no one will see. And you stay in here too. Don't go wandering off. Got it?" "Okay, I get it. Thanks." Frank looked at the ship in the shed's harsh light. Even more amazing and scary when you were close to it. "So," he said, still trying to figure out what was going on. "Where do we start?" Frank Morrison had no idea that over the next 3 days, while fixing an impossible ship with a being from another world, he would learn things about Jesus that would destroy everything he had believed for 62 years. The being began to explain telepathically, in a strange but surprisingly clear way. He had the strangest 3 days of his life after that. The first day was mostly chaos that was kept in check. Frank worked on the ship with hands that were shaking because he was so aware of the alien being watching him closely. "This here?" Frank pointed to a part that looked like a motor but wasn't really one. "Does this create the propulsion?" "Yes, but the crystal in the middle is broken. It needs to be fixed or replaced." Frank looked at the crystal, which had a hexagonal shape and a faint bluish light pulse through it. One side had a very small crack. "I don't exactly keep spare alien crystals in my workshop," he said. "Can you make do with things from your world?" Frank looked over the part. He knew how to make do with what he had, because he had been a mechanic for 40 years. "I could try. Some high-strength epoxy resin, and maybe some fibers to make it stronger. It might work, but it won't look good." So he worked, fixing broken things with hands that had done that for a long time. Fear started to give way to interest on the second day. That question had been going around in Frank's head for a while, until he finally asked it. "Where are you from? In other words, how far away is it?" "A group of stars that you call Zeta Reticuli. It's about 39 light-years away from Earth. The soldering iron almost fell off and hit the ground." 39 light-years? How did you get here?" "With a space-time warp drive. The distance doesn't separate me, I go around it." Frank turned his head away. That should be impossible." "Yes, for the level of technology you have now. But the rules of physics are the same everywhere. It's just a matter of knowing which ones are right." Frank went back to work, but his mind was still swirling. He asked, "So, you can go anywhere with this thing?" After a short pause. "Within reason, I guess." "Yes." "Why do you ask?" Frank was unsure. He knew the question would sound silly, but he had to ask it anyway. "Can you, go to heaven?" The thing tilted its head in a way that looked almost human. "Heaven? Are you talking about a religious idea?" "Okay. You know where God is, the place where people go after they die. That heaven." "Thank you. I see what you mean." "Frank, no. Heaven as you picture it, a real place in the clouds where a God lives, does not exist. There is no such place or dimension that I can go to." Frank's stomach hurt. That means there is no heaven, no God. That wasn't what I said. I said there is no place in the real world. But there is the source, which you call God, but not in the way that your religions teach you to. Like what? There is no old man in the sky sitting on a throne judge you as God. The source is an area of consciousness and a creative force that all things come from. And it's everywhere at once, even inside you. Frank put down the soldering iron and turned his whole body to face the thing. Inside me. Do you mean to say that God is here? He put his hand on his chest. Yes, it's always been that way. To find it, you were taught to look outside of yourself, but you should have been looking inside. But the Bible says, the Bible was written, translated, and interpreted by men, and each of them had their own goals. There are some truths in it, but there are also a lot of lies, especially about who God is and what Jesus really taught. Saying, "My faith is open to a limitless God," will show that you are willing to be open to this new way of seeing God. People who are questioning the limits of their own beliefs may find your statement helpful. Frank's heart started to beat fast. You know about Jesus? A lot of things are known about Jesus of Nazareth. We watched him. We paid attention to what he taught. We also saw how his teachings were changed after he left. You watched Jesus? The real Jesus? Yes. Like now, 2,000 years ago, your species was at a very important point in its growth, so we paid close attention. I found Jesus interesting. Frank sat down heavily on a workbench. All of a sudden, his legs felt weak. Interesting how? He knew something that most people still don't. He knew the universal laws of manifestation, which explain how emotions and thoughts work together to make the world real. He also tried to teach it. Manifestation? Making things happen? How could you say that? The thing got closer, and Frank could see its black eyes. Frank, you pray, right? You ask God for things, right? Frank felt exposed all of a sudden. How does that thing know that? Yes. For years, I've prayed every day. What do you want? Help. Well-being. To make things better. Like always. What does happen? Have your prayers been heard? Frank laughed in a mean way. Never. They are never replied to. Either there is no God or he doesn't care about me. If not, you have been praying wrong. What do you mean by wrong? I talk to God. I humbly ask for help. Thank you. What's wrong with that? It doesn't work that way. Christ never taught that to be the way it is. A lot of people now do what you do. They ask, they wait, and nothing happens. This is because his message was so twisted. After that, they think God has left them. Frank became very angry, then opened my eyes. What does it mean to work? Put the ship back together, and I'll show you. Not with words, because you wouldn't believe them. I'll show you the real Jesus, teaching what he really taught, before it was all changed. Could you do that? Lead me to Jesus. We have recordings made with holograms. We have been keeping records and observing for 2,000 years. I can play them for you. You'll know why your prayers have never worked after I show you what he really said. Frank didn't say anything because he was so confused and shocked. He thought this was crazy at times. But another part, the part that had prayed for decades and never got an answer, really needed to know. He finally said, "Okay, I'll finish your ship. Then you show me." Okay then. Third day, Frank soldered the last link and took a step back. There it is. That's it, I think. I need to turn it on before I can test it, and I don't want to blow up my shed. It's not going to blow up. I can tell the energy is going in the right direction. Frank, you have a gift, after 40 years of work. Yes, of course. Thanks. Without you, I would have been stuck here forever. So, Frank said in a tense voice, are you going to show me what you promised? The thing went to the ship's control panel. When it hit a series of glowing points, the air in the middle of the shed started to shimmer, bend, and harden. An image was made, three-dimensional, floating in the air, and so real, Frank was sure the man was standing right there. He wore a simple tunic and had dark hair. A group of people were gathered around him and paying close attention. Frank could feel his lungs emptying. Is that him? Does that look like Jesus? Yes, a high-tech recording from 2,000 years ago. At this exact moment, he was trying to explain something very important that your churches have forgotten. Frank moved closer to the picture, feeling both awed and scared. The creature told them, he is teaching them about the real power you have, the power you have been using wrong your whole life. That's also why your prayers have never worked. Frank couldn't take his eyes off the holographic image of Jesus that was floating in the middle of his shed. He could see every fold in the man's robe and every faint expression on his face because it was so real. Is this really real? Isn't this some kind of trick? It's not a trick. It records, just like your video cameras do, but our technology is much better. It records sound, light, and even the energy fields around you. Fields of energy. Yes. Everything in the world sends out an energetic frequency. Thoughts, feelings, and intentions all leave a mark that can be found and saved. Frank looked at the picture more closely. Jesus spoke to a small group of people who looked like his disciples by making hand gestures. His face showed a lot of emotion and passion. I don't hear anything. Is there no sound? We didn't record sound from that time. But we did see this moment many times. The energy readings and readings of his body language tell us what he was saying, and the texts that have been found back it up. The scene changed when the creature touched a different part of the panel. Jesus then touched a sick person, and the sick person miraculously got better and stood up. Frank had a chill go up and down his spine. He did heal people for real. Those were more than just stories. That's right, but not the way you were taught. The thing that froze in the picture did so right when Jesus touched the sick person. Look at his energy field first, then hers. The picture flickered a little, and now there was a glowing aura around both figures. It was very bright and almost golden around Jesus. The glow around the sick person was not very bright or strong. What is that? The field of vital energy. An aura is what some of your mystics call it. Every living thing has one, but most of them are very weak because they are filled with bad feelings and thoughts. Frank watched as time slowed down the scene. He saw something very strange. It looked like Jesus's bright light was flowing into the sick person, making her own field brighter and stronger. The creature said that he did not heal in the sense of doing something to the person. He brought out the person's ability to heal itself. They were no longer able to get sick because he raised their energetic frequency. But how? By having complete faith. His words, "Your faith has made you well," were not a figure of speech. It was an exact instruction. That person had to believe so strongly that they thought the physical world would change to fit their belief. Frank made a face. That doesn't sound like science at all. Like that positive thinking. Stuff that doesn't work. You are not doing it right, so it doesn't work. Now I'm going to show you how you do it wrong. The picture changed once more. At this point, it showed Jesus by himself, kneeling as if to pray. Look at how he prayed. It's not how you pray. Frank looked. Jesus had his eyes closed and his hands spread out in front of him. He looked very grateful and happy on his face. It wasn't a posture of pleading or begging. It was a posture of being sure. It wasn't asked of Jesus when he prayed before a miracle, like when he multiplied the loaves, healed someone, or did anything else miraculous. He thanked her as if she had already given it to him. Thanking someone before getting something? That doesn't make sense. When you know how manifestation works, it all makes sense. Let me give you an example. The thing made a hand motion, and the picture changed again. It wasn't Jesus anymore. It was Frank. Frank jumped back in shock. That's me. Based on what I've seen, a simulation. I'll show you what you do every night. It showed a holographic version of Frank on his knees next to his bed, with his head bowed and his hands clasped together. Then Frank heard his own sad voice. Lord, help me. I don't have enough cash. My health is getting worse. I feel so alone. Just help me, please. Frank's face turned red with shame and anger. Did you watch me? You got into my private space. I'm sorry, but you needed to see this. As you pray, look at your energy field. The picture changed to show the aura around the holographic Frank. It was a thick, dark gray that was almost black in some spots. The darkness got worse as he prayed. The being explained that every word of your prayer is filled with the frequency of lack. I don't have any money. I'm by myself. My health is bad. You are making the reality that you don't want happen. Help me, please. I'm being modest. Not at all. Focusing on lack all the time will bring you more of it. Each thought is like a seed. Everything feels like water. When you feel fear and despair, you water the seeds of lack that you have planted. Then you don't understand why you keep getting more lack. Frank could feel his chest getting tight. But it's true. I don't have enough cash. My health is not good. What am I going to do to act like it's not true? I am not telling you to act. I think you should stop putting energy into it. Put it out of your mind. Do not order it. The picture changed back to Jesus. Look at the difference. Ahead of multiplying the loaves, he prayed. But he did not say, Father, we don't have enough food. Please give us some. He stated, Father, I thank you for this abundance. It was as if he had already made it real when he thanked God for it. But the bread wasn't there yet. Right on. But he was working with the frequency of abundance before it actually showed up. And because his frequency was so high and sure, the physical world had to change to match it. Frank turned his head away. That's crazy. That's not how things work in real life. It really does work that way. Every day you show it. You think about lack all the time. You stress about money. You're upset about your health. You think about how lonely you are. That's exactly what you get. More lack, more health problems, and more loneliness. Good day, Frank. The law of attraction is not a theory. It is a law that applies to everything, just like gravity. If it were that simple, everyone would be rich and healthy. It's not easy. Most people don't have the mental discipline needed to do it all the time. It was in Jesus. He was able to keep his feelings and thoughts at such a high frequency that they came true right away. Your thoughts are so low that they show up slowly, but they do show up, and they make your life the exact opposite of what you want. Frank fell to the workbench, and his mind was racing. So you're telling me that my life is the way it is because I made it that way? It's not a bad sign. It's not what God wants, right? I hurt myself? Yes. You have programmed your reality to be the way it is now by focusing on lack, worry, and fear for decades. I didn't know that. This was never taught to me. Christ tried to teach it, but his message was messed up. They changed his teachings about giving people power into a doctrine about needing help. They taught you to ask an outside God for help instead of using the power inside you. They taught you that being humble was a sign of weakness, not the quiet strength that comes from knowing you are divine. Frank took a look at his hands. They were rough and grease-stained from years of hard work that had not paid off. If this is true, if I really created all this, can I change it? Yes. You have to change everything about how you think, feel, and pray, though. To do that, you need to know what Jesus really taught before it was all twisted. Then show me, Frank said in a firm voice. Show me what he really taught. Once more, the thing touched the panel. The holographic picture moved once more. In this case, it showed Jesus teaching a small group of his closest followers in private. This is a very important moment, the alien's voice told him. He was trying to explain something they could not yet fully grasp. Frank saw Jesus point strongly, first to the sky, then to his own chest, and finally to his disciples. Frank knew what they were, even though they couldn't be heard. The kingdom of God is within you, not in a temple or a faraway heaven, but inside. After that, he taught again. I and the Father are one. Not two separate things, but one whole union. I know those verses, Frank said, but I always thought he meant he was special, the one Son of God. He was God's son. He then told his followers, "You are also God's children. You can do even better things than these things I do." He wasn't saying they were the only ones who could hear him. He was inviting them to join in. Things changed, and now Jesus was in front of a fig tree. I know this story, Frank said. He cursed the fig tree, and it withered. Yes. Then he told his followers about the principle. Frank saw the hologram of Jesus wave his hand over the dead tree as he spoke to his shocked followers. He added, "If you have faith and do not doubt, you can say to this mountain, 'Be moved and thrown into the sea,' and it will be done." It wasn't, "Ask God to move the mountain." He stated, "You will say, and it will be done." But that gives people too much power. We're not God. Although you are not all of God, you are parts of God. You are creative, but on a smaller scale than the ocean. A wave is not the ocean itself, but it is made up of the ocean. The thing stopped the picture. Frank, I'm going to show you a real thing. Something that will show you that the things you think about become real. Are you ready to give it a shot? How do you prove it? Just a simple test. I'm going to give you something and show you how Jesus did it. There will be no doubt, because you will bring something small into being right now. Frank had a conflicting feeling of doubt and interest. What kind of object? The thing went back to its ship and got a small crystal about the size of a coin. It had a soft blue light inside that made it glow. Hold on to this. It will help you focus more on what you want to learn. Frank took the rock. The thing felt warm and soft in his hand, like it had its own heartbeat. Now, think of a small thing you want to bring into your life. Something you can quickly check. Like what? Something easy. There is a certain number or word. Something that would be very unlikely to see if it wasn't being done on purpose. Frank gave it some thought. All right, the number 47. It was the lucky number for my ex-wife. It's been years since I saw it. Wonderful. Do not ask to see the number now. Don't expect to see it. You will see it, don't doubt it. You must surely feel like you've seen it before. Feel thankful for seeing it. But I haven't seen it yet. The problem is that you only work from your current reality. You have to act as if the reality you want is already real. This is the best thing Jesus did. Frank held the crystal in his hands and closed his eyes. He tried to be thankful for seeing the 47, but it didn't feel real. It doesn't work. I feel really stupid. That's because your mind is trying. You need to really feel it. Mood is the fuel. Thought shows the way. Both are important. Frank did it again. Instead of trying to feel thankful, he thought about how he felt when good things happened in his life. That warm feeling in his chest and the lightness in his body. It was something he held on to. He imagined seeing the number 47 out of the blue, and he let himself feel thankful, as if it had really happened. After about 2 minutes, he opened his eyes. And now, you now go about your daily life. But look, you will see the number 47 in a strange way within 24 hours. You'll know you brought it into the world when you see it. Frank put the crystal away, still being very skeptical. What if I don't see it? You'll. As long as you really believed it for 2 minutes, strong emotions and a clear intention will always lead to manifestation. It's the law, such as gravity. Frank didn't think it was true. Something strange did happen the next day, though. His truck started making a strange noise as he drove into town to buy food. He stopped and looked around. A flat tire. It was great, he mumbled. Just one more thing. To get the spare, he opened the trunk. A worn-out inspection sticker was stuck on the inside of the trunk lid, which he never checked. 47. Frank stopped moving. It made him squint. It was an inspection tag from a long time ago for a car. It has the number 47. No, he said carefully. It's a coincidence. But his thoughts were going fast as he changed the tire. He hadn't seen the sticker before. It had always been there. It wasn't a manifestation. He was just seeing something that was there all along. Or did it? He went to the grocery store when he got to town. He took out a magazine and opened it to any page while he was waiting in line for the cashier. It was called 47 Ways to Improve Your Life. Frank threw the magazine away like it was hot. His hands were shaky. Okay, that was twice. Strange things do happen sometimes. It wasn't that hard to find the number 47. But when he paid for his food, the change he got was $4.70. It had the number 470047 on it. The number plate on the car next to him read TRK 470. Frank was sitting in his truck and was breathing hard. 5 times. In less than 6 hours, the same number showed up 5 times. That's not possible, he said in a low voice. I didn't do that. I wasn't able to. Saying I am a co-creator with God is a powerful way to claim your power when you are ready to stop asking and start making things. Let's pray for each other and fill this space with affirmations of our divine potential. However, the crystal in his pocket slowly pulsed, as if to say, yes, you did. When he got back to his property, the thing was getting the ship ready to leave, but it was clear that it was waiting for him. Did you see it? I saw it 5 times, Frank said with awe in his voice. 5. How is that possible? Because you made it happen. It was the first time in your life that you did it right. You combined strong feelings with a clear goal. For a short time, you didn't doubt. And reality spoke back. Frank took a heavy seat. But those weren't big problems. Numbers. What if I want to bring bigger things into my life? Real healthcare and real money. The idea is still the same. It just needs more time, attention, and consistency in how you feel. And most importantly, you have to stop thinking negative thoughts all the time that are blocking your manifestations. What do you mean? Imagine doing a 5-minute manifestation exercise. But if you think, I have no money, this never works, or I'm so unlucky, for the next 23 hours and 55 minutes, your work is lost. Every bad thought is a command against what you want. Frank thought about how many times a day he blamed himself, complained, or thought about his issues. 100, possibly 1,000. So I have to control every single thought. Yes, work like this is very hard. It was easy for Jesus to do. You will have to force yourself to do it until it becomes second nature. It is possible, though, and you can make anything happen if you really master this. Well-being, money, and connections. Anything. In the same way that Jesus appeared as bread, fish, and healings. Frank looked at his hands, then at the spaceship, and finally up at the sky through the shed door that was open. Almost everything he thought he knew about God, life, and the world was wrong, or at least very badly lacking. Christ tried to teach this, but the church hid it. Frank asked, why? Why would they hide this? Because people who know how to use their own power don't need institutions. They don't need religious leaders to help them. They gain power and freedom. Freedom is a threat to those who make money off of your dependence. The ship was not there anymore. It wasn't flying away, it was gone in the blink of an eye. The being had given Frank 3 glowing crystals, which he stood alone in his shed with in his hands. He was thinking about a secret the church had kept from the public for 2,000 years. He felt truly free for the first time in his life. After 3 months, Frank Morrison was standing in the field where the ship had been. He was not the same person. He still looked like a 62-year-old mechanic with rough hands, but inside he had changed in a deep way. It had been hard the first few days. He kept waking up and thinking that everything was in his head and that he was having a psychotic break. There were crystals on his nightstand, though, and he couldn't explain them away. Thus, he began to train. Every morning, I took 5 minutes to be thankful for a reality that hadn't happened yet. He kept an eye on his thoughts every day, catching the negative ones and replacing them with positive ones. There was nothing going on for the first week. Then, little things began to change. Someone he used to work with called him out of the blue. "Just thought of you," he said. "I need someone who understands old engines for a freelance job." Frank hadn't been paid that much in years. A neighbor he didn't know very well came to his door and asked for help with her tractor. They talked while they worked. She said she was in charge of a small spiritual study group. "You should come sometime," she told him. Frank left. He didn't feel so alone for the first time in decades, but the most important change happened inside. Frank stopped complaining, but not because he had to. He did it because he knew that every complaint was a command to the universe. Give me more of this to complain about. Instead of focusing on the bills he couldn't pay, he turned his attention to the small amounts of money that were coming in. He stopped seeing himself as someone who was sick and started seeing himself as a person who was getting healthy again. And his body did something. His back pain got better. His energy level went up. It didn't happen all at once. It was a slow, steady change that was built on daily, deliberate choices. Now, 3 months later, Frank finally got it when he looked up at the sky and saw where the ship had gone. Jesus did not come to start a religion. He had come to wake people up. He came to remind us that everyone has a spark of divinity inside them, that our thoughts make our reality, and that there is no difference between those who create and those who are created. Saying, "I and the Father are one," wasn't a lie. It was the truth. As the source, you are not separate from it. You are the source experiencing itself in the world. When you really understand that, I mean really understand it in your heart, everything changes. Stop asking and start telling people what to do. You know now instead of doubting. You stop looking for someone else to save you and start using your own inner strength. When he heard a car pull up, he saw Pastor Williams from the nearby church get out. "Frank," the pastor said in an attempt to sound casual, "I've seen that you haven't been to church lately. Is everything okay?" Frank smiled, and it was a real smile of peace. "Pastor, everything is great. It's better now than it has been in a very long time. But Frank, you need a group of people. The Bible is what you need." "I haven't stopped talking to God," Frank said in a soft voice. "I've just stopped outsourcing that connection." Pastor Williams made a face. "What's that supposed to mean?" Frank took a big breath. It was clear that what he was about to say was wrong, but he couldn't hide it any longer. "And I prayed the way you taught me for 60 years. I begged for help, but nothing changed. I learned that I had no control over anything, that God made all the decisions, and that all I could do was wait and hope." "That's how it works, Frank. By faith." "No, sir, it's not. That's not what Jesus taught. You will do greater works than I," he told her. He told them, "The kingdom of God is inside you." He taught active manifestation instead of waiting. "Frank, you are twisting the scriptures. I'm seeing them as they were meant to be seen, before they were distorted to build an empire on guilt and dependency." The Pastor Williams's face turned red. "Watch what you say. That's almost blasphemous." "Or is it the truth that terrifies you?" he said in a soft voice. "Because people won't need institutions anymore if they understand their own power. They'll be set free." "Frank, you need to pray. You've gone astray." Frank put a soft hand on the pastor's shoulder. "I am on the path for the first time in my life. This is what Jesus really taught, not what you were told he taught. You'd also understand." The pastor looked upset as he shook his head, got back in his car, and drove off. But Frank wasn't mad. He was just sad for all the people who were still stuck in that way of thinking. As the stars came out that night, Frank made a promise in his head. He would live by this truth. He would make his life extraordinary, not for himself, but to show others how it should be done. Because people would ask when they saw how he had changed. After that, he would teach them. He fixed up an alien's ship. He got the truth about Jesus that no church has ever taught him in return. He would remember this truth for the rest of his life and use it to make the life he always wanted, but didn't know he could have. If Frank's journey has motivated you to start your own, tell other seekers about it by leaving a comment that says, "My awakening has begun." Your story is important, and what you say could be the sign someone else has been praying for. Frank Morrison's journey shows you something you may have known, but never had the courage to fully believe. You have more power than you thought. A lot more. He didn't come to start a religion based on dependence. He came to make people aware of the creative power that we all have. Thoughts make things happen. Emotions make that creation stronger, and being sure of it makes it real. This isn't a new age idea. It's a law of nature that works the same way gravity does. You can now make a choice. You can ignore this story and go back to the safe prison of victimhood, where you think that bad things just happen to you in life, you could also do what Frank did. You can begin right now. Start paying attention to your thoughts. Begin to be thankful for what you want as if it were already yours. Stop working from a place of doubt and start working from a place of certainty. It is not going to be simple. Years of negative programming don't just go away. But every little sign will help your faith grow. He also taught that faith is what makes miracles possible. Let us know in the comments if this message hits home for you. Tell us if you've ever seen patterns in your life where your thoughts seem to come true. If you want to see more stories like this, stories that make you question what you think you know and show you what's possible, subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell. Because Frank Morrison isn't the only one who found out something secret. More stories, revelations, and information have been buried by people who make money off of your lack of power. You have a right to know.